It all began as nothing more than a harmless joke, something light-hearted meant to stir up a few laughs. Or at least, that's what I told myself later that night, when the laughter had faded and the silence in the room grew unbearably heavy. We were at a cozy dinner party in Seattle, surrounded by old college friends, their partners, and a few of Ryan's co-workers. The evening buzzed with laughter, clinking glasses, and warm conversation. I was feeling bold, maybe too bold. Ryan had always been the calm one, the steady presence who never needed to prove himself. That night, though, I wanted to shake that composure just a little, to see something raw behind his usual calm. When the topic of marriage stories came up, I jumped right in. I teased him relentlessly, calling him unromantic, joking that he'd rather spend an evening watching a documentary than planning a date night. I even laughed that being married to him sometimes felt like sharing an apartment with a responsible roommate instead of a husband. Everyone roared with laughter. For a fleeting moment, I felt witty, admired, and alive. Then I glanced at Ryan. He was smiling, but it didn't reach his eyes. His gaze was steady, too steady, carrying something I couldn't quite define. It wasn't anger. It was colder, deeper. He didn't respond right away. He waited until the laughter began to die down, until the air itself seemed to still. Then he quietly set his glass down and said, "You're right, Lisa. I stopped trying to be romantic because I realized I could never compete with the attention you get from everyone else." The silence that followed was suffocating. Even the clinking of forks and soft chatter came to a halt. My smile froze. I tried to twist it into another joke, but Ryan continued, softly, calmly, and devastatingly. "You've always needed to make me the punchline so you could feel above me," he said. "I didn't marry a performer, Lisa. I married someone I thought respected me. Maybe I was wrong." He never raised his voice, and that made it hurt so much more. Each word landed heavy, quiet, precise, breaking something fragile inside me that I hadn't realized could shatter. Someone cleared their throat and muttered something about dessert, but I couldn't look at anyone. My face burned. My chest felt tight. Without another word, Ryan stood and walked out onto the balcony. I waited a moment before following him, stepping into the cool night air. "I didn't mean it like that," I whispered, barely loud enough to hear myself. He didn't turn to look at me. "You never do," he said softly, "but that doesn't make it hurt any less." The drive home was silent. The distance between us felt infinite. When we got home, he went straight to the bedroom and quietly pulled an overnight bag from the closet. "Where are you going?" I asked, my voice trembling. "To my brother's place for a while," he replied without looking up. "You wanted a husband who entertains. Congratulations, you got your story." Then he left. No yelling, no slammed doors, just quiet, final certainty. I sat on the couch for hours, staring at the empty space he'd left behind, realizing I had humiliated the one man who had never once disrespected me. The days that followed were unbearable. Friends texted awkwardly, unsure what to say. I called, I messaged, I begged, but Ryan never answered. A week later, a single message came through. "You broke something you can't fix with an apology." I cried reading it. He wasn't angry anymore. He was just done. 2 weeks later, I went to his brother's house. Ryan answered the door, calm, collected, but distant. His eyes looked tired. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice unsteady. "I know I crossed a line." He nodded slowly, but didn't invite me inside. "You've always been funny, Lisa," he said softly. "But love isn't supposed to be a joke." Then he closed the door. That night, I finally understood. Some mistakes can't be undone. Some apologies can't rebuild what pride has destroyed. Ryan never tried to get even, never tried to make me feel what he felt. He simply walked away with his dignity intact. And in the end, his quiet, unshakable silence became the loudest lesson of all.